This recipe today comes from the Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving. It's my go-to for everything canning, so I recommend it for anyone new to canning. So here are the peaches. I just bought these at the store. I'm not lucky enough to have a peach tree at my house, but they were on a good deal, so I thought I would buy them. You want to can them when they are at the same ripeness you would want to eat them at. So when you press on them, they have a little give to them. They're not super hard. The flavor and the texture will preserve that way. So you don't want to do ones that are really hard or really soft, because that's how they'll be when you take them out of the can. You also want to get ready your jars. So I've washed out a few quart jars. I'm using quarts because I think that peaches can in really large pieces, and so quarts make more sense than pints, are just a little too small. And you want to make sure they're clean and dry, and then also to heat up your canning lids and rings. Then the first thing you're going to be doing is you're going to be removing the skins, because you don't want to put those in your peaches. So you want to bring a pot of water up to a high heat and make it nice and hot, and then you're going to be dropping your peaches in and blanching them just long enough for the skins to come off. So we'll wait for this to heat up, and then we will show you how to do that. To blanch these, we're going to take the peaches and we're going to put them in the pot of very hot water. Doesn't have to be boiling, but just very hot. And blanching is just a form of preparing your fruit by helping you remove those skins. And this is where you're going to put them in this hot water for about 2 minutes. And then after those 2 minutes, you're going to get a bowl of ice cold water or fill your sink, and then just scoop them out with a slotted spoon, put them in that cold water and let them cool for just a couple minutes. And then you'll see when we do the peeling part, this is going to make it so the skins just peel right off. So here I'm going to show you how I'm going to get them to peel. I just used my knife to get it started, and you can see how easily those peels come off from the blanching process that we did. So again, don't skip that step if you don't like peels on your peaches. That's my preference. You can still use them with the peels if you like, but it's not too hard to get them to blanch and peel and just get a nice clean product. So here's where I'm going to show you how to cut them. Typically I just cut them right down the middle like this, and you can pull gently and the pit'll pop right out of the middle. Well, I noticed when I got these to this point that look how hard I'm tugging and it's not popping open. And I realized that that means these are not freestone peaches. And freestone peaches just means that that pit comes apart separately. These did not work that way. So I ended up peeling them and then cutting them with my knife and just cutting them off of the pit in the middle. So these are more like slices that I'm cutting, but I do typically do peach halves when I do them. And here I'm just cutting them and dropping them into a bowl that's outside of camera, and that bowl's got water in it. That typically will help prevent them from browning while I'm cutting up the rest of the peaches. So then you're going to want to get your syrup going. So you're going to need 5 cups of water, and I'm using 1.25 cups of sugar, which is a very light syrup, but there are various ways that you can make the syrup, and I'll show you those different options here. So here you can see there are various amounts of sugar and water that you can put together. I like to do the extra light or light usually, or if you want to go all the way up to heavy syrup, you can do that. Think about how you'd like to buy peaches in the store. Do you like to buy them canned in juice, or do you prefer them canned in syrup? Is that heavy syrup? And then you can go with that. I just like the lighter syrup usually because I like them to taste a bit fresher, less sweetened, and using them in baked goods a lot, so no need to put too much sugar in. Okay, so I've got my water hot. I'm putting in the sugar. And then you don't need to boil it or anything really, you just need to get it hot enough that you can dissolve the sugar. So I've got it steaming hot pretty much and just stirring that in. Should take about maybe 1 or 2 minutes. So the next thing you need to do is get your peaches in your cans or your jars. So all you have to do is take the peaches and you put them in. If you cut them in half, you want to put the cut sides down, but since I cut them in like quarters or pieces with this round, I'm just going to toss them in. And you can fill it all the way up to the top. You want to leave the headband space about 1 inch at the top. So go ahead and get them all in there. This is 8 small peaches that are fitting into 1 quart size jar. So that should be good. And then you want to come along with your heavy syrup, or your syrup, however you did it, and pour it in. Again, all the way up to the top of the band. You want to make sure there's no air bubbles. You can get a device. I usually just use a kitchen knife. I know that's not normally the way to do it. I just use my knife to jiggle around, make sure there's no air bubbles. Looks like we were good, and make sure our level is still high on the top. And then we can go ahead and take our warmed jar lid, stick it right on the top, and tighten down to hand tight. These are the peaches that I picked out. I just grabbed them because they were $2.50 for a 2-pound pack of peaches, and I thought that would be great, and they looked good. But I found out when I got them home that these are not a freestone peach, meaning that the center of the peach is not like the peaches that I usually work with. When you cut them in half and the middle part of the seed just kind of comes right out. These ones, the seed is more like a pith, very similar to a mango, where it's almost part of the fruit. So instead of having halves of peaches, I ended up having kind of slices and chunks, which is fine because I usually use them for cobbler anyway, but they're a little bit more piecey and were a little bit more difficult to get in the jar. So the last step is to go ahead and grab these jars and put them down in the canner. And you want to make sure that the water covers at least 1 inch above the top of the jars. So we'll get them all in there. And then we process for 30 minutes for quarts and 25 minutes if you're doing pints. And here's the final product. Here's one of the jars of peaches that we did. So I don't like to waste a ton of things, and so one thing I'm trying this time is to take my peach pits and help use those to flavor just a simple syrup. That simple syrup can be used in desserts or can be used to make a cocktail. I bet my Orioles outside would really love it if I put that out for them. So just repurposing these pits that otherwise would have gone in the garbage. So this is just about 50-50 water and sugar. And then I just put the peach pits in there and I'm letting it cook down a little bit. And I tasted it. It tastes amazing. So just something to give a try if you're interested in not wasting your pits and trying to get the most use out of the peach. Thanks for watching this canning recipe feature, and I hope it helps you learn how to can something new today. Like I said, I always like to use these for desserts, really good for peach cobbler and things like that. So when they're great sale at the store, go ahead and stock up, can them up, put them on your shelf. Usually best within about the first year, but I know I've heard people have used them later than that. So enjoy your peaches. Thanks for joining me. Have a nice day.